Admiral Snorkers here to talk to you about a very important topic. Naval rearmament. The dastardly Hun are building ships, and how dare they? Because we own the sea, we invented it. Because in 1906, we built the mightiest ship ever known, HMS Dreadnought. But then they copied our homework. Ooh, it's not on. Today's game for the Commodore 64 is by the son of a Rear-admiral and the grandson of a Vice-admiral. But me, I'm a full admiral, so I outrank the lot of them. We get to build a fleet and then set them to fight each other for our amusement. But when it comes to dreadnoughts, there's only one thing I say. We want 8 and we won't wait! Your snorkers, sir! Very good, sailor, very good. Snorkers, good-o!
Dreadnought by Humphrey Walwyn is a game where you get to play as 2 different fleets fighting each other for supremacy in the period 1890 to 1918. We're having 2 fleets here. The black fleet called the Baddies, which is the white fleet called the Goodies. You start with the Baddies fleet, which is the black fleet. You give it a name of a ship, up to 10 letters. You then choose one of the 5 types of ship. Each ship has different speed, different guns, different cost. You then choose a division for the ship. Ships are in columns. Once we start, the display shows here, alternating between the first letter of the ship, the number of the division, and a Petsky character indicating the current direction of the ship. Horizontal line being it's going roughly east or west, vertical line roughly north or south, or diagonal lines are in between. Moves are computed in 1 minute at a time, but you get 4 of them at once, and after each 4-minute period you move on to firing. You can see here though that the ships have different speed, so the Goodish fleet on the right is separating somewhat as the various ships separate. The middle ship S is Scrappy Doo, which is a battle cruiser, which is very, very fast. Whereas other ships like O is called Old Yeller. This is an old battleship. It is steaming towards the right-hand side of the screen. You have turrets, fore and aft, main turrets. You have secondary turrets, which are 6-inch guns. You have funnels. You have radio masts. You have bridge squares. And in the middle of the ship, you have colons, which represent the armoured core of the ship. If a shell penetrates the ship to this extent, the ship will explode. We see here Old Yeller under fire. At long range, armour is effective. See the shells just bouncing off Old Yeller. But not that one, unfortunately. Old battleships did not have very good armour. Or the armour was more concentrated on the side because they were expected to be fighting at very close range. And we're here to sit back and relax to the beautiful sounds of Morse code. If only we'd invented radio telephony.
Vorwärts! Vorwärts! Schnell! Schnell!
Who are you? What's the meaning of this?
Handy's Hock, Schweinhund! Do not be afraid. You will not be harmed, for I am Helmut von Mucker of the Imperial German Navy.
This is a private radio station doing important work for the military.
We are commandeering this radio station and shall destroy it.
You won't get away with this. German Navy facing the Royal Australian Navy. It's a light cruiser versus light cruiser battle, and the Germans have the SMS Emden.
Guten Morgen, Korvettenkapitän Karl von Muller, SMS Emden.
Which is part of Admiral Speer's East Asia Squadron and who did very well at the old commerce raiding.
Good day, cobbers. Captain John Glossop of the Royal Australian Navy here. 4 rings on my sleeve and 4 X in my heart. We've had reports of an SOS from the Cocos Islands, so we've come to have a Captain Cook.
The Australians represented by the HMAS Sydney, another light cruiser diverted from an Anzac convoy, and the battle starts at 9:15. At 6 in the morning, the crew of the Emden landed on the Cocos Islands and wrecked the radio station, but a SOS signal was sent out. In the base version of the game, the time is there just for fun. It has no meaning in the game whatsoever. We start off, and you see on the left...
There's a ship in the harbour. Let's go and have a Captain Cook.
the letter E, which is the Emden, and on the right the S.
Was ist das für ein Schiff? Vielleicht ist der Boris mit mehr Kohl für uns.
These alternate between also the number 5, which is the division, and a shape which gives you an idea of the bearing. And the Germans are changing speed.
Erhöhen Sie die Geschwindigkeit auf 5 Knoten.
I'm a bit of role-playing here. What I'm doing is, I'm saying go to 5 knots rather than to go instantly to full speed, because the game lets you go from a stop to full speed and back again instantly, which is a little bit silly because ships aren't Ferraris. So you see here the Emden on the left is moving towards the south, and on the right the Sydney is advancing towards the west. Moves completed 1 minute at a time, and you get 4-minute turns.
It looks like a cruiser. It's got 4 funnels though, so it might be one of ours.
You can see each other as long as you're on the same board. The game will continue between the 2 flagships.
Verdammt! Es ist ein freundlicher Kreuzer! Erhöhen Sie die Geschwindigkeit auf 10 Knoten!
Germans are going to increase speed to 10 knots heading south to try and get away. The ships are identical in this game. Both are light cruisers with a maximum speed of 25 knots. In real life, the Sydney was better armed and better armoured. It could have been worse for the Emden, though. Originally, a Japanese battle cruiser of sorts wanted to come and investigate the situation, but was told, no, you stay with the convoy, lads.
Can you tell what it is yet?
So the Emden's going to try and have a shot at the Sydney.
Feuern, wenn in Reichweite.
Emden's got 6-inch guns, though, which have a maximum range of 10,000 yards. At 15,000 yards, that's way, way out of range. So we need to continue on. Again, moves computed 1 minute at a time. You can give as many orders as you like and then press space bar to carry on. This is just 2 ships, 1 on each side. You can have up to 26 ships on each side as long as each ship has a unique starting letter on each side, naturally. There's only one Royal Navy ship ever called beginning with the letter X, that's the Xenophon. Emden's having another look at the Sydney. Again, it's out of range. So we keep moving. This was a real historical battle. You can look it up. It's quite interesting.
That ship there, that don't look bonza.
The Emden's now firing at the Sydney, and it's able to bring
Offenus fire!
6 guns to bear, both fore and aft, because the Sydney is on the beam, as we say. Slightly abaft the beam, I believe we should say. So here are the 6-inch shells coming in, and that's a miss.
Stroof! It's a German!
That's bounced off the armour. That's taken out one of our aft turrets. And that's damaged one of the funnels of the Sydney. So our maximum speed is now reduced to 21 knots from original 25. Now the Australians are going to change course.
Hard a port! New bearing 190 degrees!
To also get a broadside off.
Erhöhen Sie die Geschwindigkeit auf 15 Knoten!
Germans increasing speed. Again, they could increase speed instantly to 25, but we're doing a little bit of role play. The Emden's now going to have another shot at the Sydney.
Schießen Sie weiter!
6 guns on target. Damage is persistent. The little checkered board squares are damaged squares. There's another aft turret hit. A funnel. And one of the bridge squares.
That could have had my head off!
Captain there having to duck for cover. But now the Sydney gets a broadside on the Emden.
Let's give him a salvo, oh!
And that's a miss, unfortunate. A hit on the armour. Another miss. Oh dear, obviously reservists.
Tun Sie es für den Kaiser!
German shells on the Sydney.
Flaming Nora, the bridge has been hit.
The Sydney's now out of control. It'll randomly steer because both bridge squares have been hit, so it'll just whistly it's out of control. It's still fire and still fight, but you can't control direction or speed.
Don't just stand there gawping. Fire at them.
But it's simultaneous execution of firing.
She's gone up like a great galah!
It's the end of the game at 9:39 of the Germans sank £0 million and the Australians sank £3 million, which means the Australians are the winners.
Come cheer up, my lads, 'tis to glory we steer. So add something more to this wonderful year. To honour we call you as free men or slaves. For who are as free as the sons of the waves? Hearts of oak, ships, hearts of oak, our men. We'll always be ready. Steady, boys, steady. We'll fight and we'll triumph again and again.
We're now moving to the snorkified version, and we're going big. We're going for the Battle of Jutland 1916. And I've made some changes. Rather than a fixed budget, I let the game ask you for your budget, and the Black Fleet is having a budget of £221 million, whereas the White Fleet only have £100 million. Who are the Black Fleet? Well, the Black Fleet are the Germans, the High Seas Fleet, and the White Fleet are the British, the Royal Navy. We're doing the phase of the battle where the British battle cruisers under Vice-Admiral Beatty have discovered the German battle cruisers under Vice-Admiral Hipper. The flagship is the Lutzow, which is a battle cruiser, and we're going to have that in Division Number 1. We want to get a bit of space between the different types of German. The other Germans are a load of dreadnoughts and old battleships. We're having those in Division 8 and 9 and 7. The Royal Navy flagship is the Lion, one of the splendid cats. We also have super dreadnoughts, which are these fast battleships, one of which is the Warspite. The second in command was Humphrey Walwyn's grandfather, also called Humphrey. However, what the British don't know is that there are more Germans around than they can see. The German battlecruisers start heading east at 14 knots. However, there are a load of other Germans lurking in the distance, and they're going at 5 knots. I've changed the game so when you alter your speed, it doesn't take effect instantly, so it will take some time for the Germans to get up to full speed. Give you a bit of space. So you can't just do a handbrake turn. So 1 knot per minute, or if you prefer 4 knots per turn. The British, though, have a number of ships. Splendid cats, commanded by Beatty, going at full speed, 28 knots to the west, chasing after the Germans, who they think have got in a trap. Trundling along behind them, somewhat slower, are the super dreadnoughts, Barham, Valiant, Warspite and Malaya. The battle starts at 15:13, about to go into action. We start at 15:30. This is the reverse of the historical position, because the Germans in real life were at the east and the British were approaching from the west. But this is how the game works, is what we've got. Both sides are approaching each other, and you'll notice the display alternates between letters, numbers and lines. The letters are the first letters of the ship. British are on the right. The numbers are the division, and the lines show you the direction the ships are going. So the Germans are turning to starboard, heading south. The British are turning to port to get into a good position for shooting. And the Lutzow and the Lion are the flagships. So the map automatically moves to keep the centre of the map between them. And the Lutzow is not having a lot of luck. One of the changes I've made here is when you get new damage, it is highlighted in yellow. Also, the German ships are black. The Black Fleet is black, rather. When you get old damage, it's orange, representing it being on fire. So you can clearly see where the damage is and where the new hits are. I've also changed the colour of the splashes. The Germans are having a shot at the Princess Royal, one of the battle cruisers, not doing very well. And unfortunately, the Lutzow, as a lead ship, is targeted by several vessels. Goodbye, Vice Admiral Hipper. I also changed the explosions to be orange or yellow.
Sie haben meinen Schlachtkreuzer versenkt.
Things continue quite well for the British, who are turning to the port. Therefore, they can expose their broadsides to the Germans and are shelling the German battlecruisers with very heavy fire. We've got 6 British battlecruisers and 4 super dreadnoughts versus 5 battlecruisers. Over the next few minutes, the Germans lose the Derfflinger, the Seydlitz and the Moltke. However, on the left of the screen you see more ships approaching. This is the trap sprung by Vice Admiral Scheer, and he's managed to bring on board the 16 dreadnoughts and 3 old battleships against a small proportion of the Grand Fleet. We go over now to Commander Walwyn at the scene.
Very soon after the turn, I saw on the starboard quarter the whole of the High Seas fleet. At least I saw masts, funnels, and an endless ripple of orange flashes all down the line.
Things continue okay for the British. This is the SMS Pommern, named after its captain, Captain Balkan, which couldn't use the letter P. This is one of Admiral Mauve's 5-minute ships, an old pre-dreadnought battleship. It was state-of-the-art when it was commissioned in 1905, but obsolete by the time it was launched. You see here it's taking heavy damage. This is the first turn it's been targeted.
Sie haben mein Einheitslinienschiff versenkt.
And Vice Admiral Scheer was very much trying to protect these ships. He wanted them to take part in the battle, because otherwise it's not fair on the sailors, but they were very vulnerable and rather slow. However, now the Germans are now getting more into action, and the table has indeed turned. The British are now taking casualties, taking heavy fire, and are still running to the south and are now trying to turn to the north. The ships are moving to the southwards. Because the Lutzow sank, the space is moving further south. See now the British battle cruisers, the Lion, is now trying to turn to port and they head north. If they can get far enough away, they can escape. Unfortunately, they've left it a bit too long, and they are well within range of the 16 German dreadnoughts, represented here on the left. So for the next few minutes, they get increasing in casualties, and this is what happens to the pride of the Royal Navy, the Splendid Cats. We're already on fire. The Queen Mary, the Valiant, the Prince Royal and the Tiger. There's something wrong with our bloody ships today. And now we see the last stand of the Lion. The British flagship has survived right until the end, but it's not going to survive much longer. Battle cruisers are not fast battleships. They gain speed by sacrificing armour, and this is the result. The opposing fleets lose contact with each other at 1622. The value of ships sunk by each fleet. The Germans sank 100 million, British sank 61. That is a crushing British defeat. Thank you for watching.
Deutscher Würstchen über alles mit Sauerkraut und etwas Senf.